to play against the Toronto Raptors. But the Toronto Raptors, they've done so well for themselves from from the game one when they were playing the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, we thought they might not be here, but they did everything possible to be in the NBA Finals. They've never been here, so I think it's a good one for them as well. If they can keep this up, their defense against the Milwaukee Bucks, that was in Game 3, especially Nick Nurse pairing Kawhi Leonard up against the almighty Antetokounmpo. That was awesome for me to get to see. So if he could do this against a Steph Curry or bringing in defenders that can hold Steph Curry and also Draymond Green. Yes, there's no Kevin Durant in this particular one. They might take the day, but we know how the Golden State Warriors are. They have brilliant shooters. They can stay anywhere on court to shoot, and that's what have been winning games for them ever since Kevin Durant was taking off with the injury he had. So Draymond Green is also shooting from the right side, from the right wing, and also Steph Curry from the left wing. Are they going to hold these two guys? If they can, I think they'll get the job done.
And of course, it's about 10-11 days for the Warriors since they last played. Will enough rest for the Warriors and fatigue for the Raptors play any role in the finals today?
Ordinarily it should play a part. But the extent, the degree to that effect is going to have on the players is where the question comes in. I think they are professionals. They, of course, have been in this kind of situations before where they have to play games with shorter times. We see these things not just in basketball; it happens in every other sport. On that basis, you would say maybe just a little, like I said, a little advantage to the Golden State Warriors. But then I think generally the players now will be the major deciders. The quality you've got on court, there's no disputing the fact that when it comes to superstars, you've got them all in the Golden State Warriors. I mean, even without Kevin Durant, you've got the Steph Currys of this world doing it. Even at some point, we thought Steph Curry was done for the season because he looked very terrible at some point during the regular season, and also when it got to the semi-finals, the playoffs, he was quite terrible. But at some point, he picked up himself, especially when Kevin Durant was out. He picked up himself and then showed us why he's Steph Curry. So I think on that basis, the fact that they have stayed out, yes, a little advantage, but definitely the quality will have to shine on the day.
Wisdom Nick Nurse, the coach of the Raptors, this is his first season as an NBA coach. Steve Kerr himself, the first time he won the NBA in 2015 was his first season. He's just like a 5-year veteran in the league at the moment. Nick Nurse has been so tactical in the playoffs, especially what we saw him do against the Bucks, who took the first two games. Can Nick Nurse and his side hold their own against the Splash Brothers, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and of course not forgetting Draymond Green, whom the coach referred to as a wrecking ball in the last series against the Portland Trail Blazers, whose shooting prowess has been second to none. So far so good, having triple doubles with reckless abandon. Can Nick Nurse and his boys have their own against a Warriors team that has no Kevin Durant? He traveled with the team, but he's out of game one. Okay, good news as well. Boogie Cousins is back in the team. He might not start. Andre Iguodala is also back. These guys are born for the playoffs. You might not see them in the regular season. They can give you just 8 points in 15 games in the regular season. When it comes to the playoff, Iguodala is born for this moment. With all this put together, can the Raptors have the upper hand? Let's also, for the record, they have just 3 players in the Raptors who have been to the NBA Finals. Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard. They won it with the Spurs. I'm not forgetting Serge Ibaka when he was with the OKC. They got to the finals and lost to the Cavs. Can they hold their own against a Warriors team that have been in their 5 consecutive finals? She's talked about that they are playing like it's their first time. They are seeking to become the first team to have a three-peat since 2000-2001.
Well, Top Striker, I think you've already given us some insights already on it, and the truth is, experience at times counts a lot when it comes to sports, especially in the biggest of stages. A lot of things could come in nerves, maybe inexperience of carrying the pressure and intensity that comes with the final. This is the biggest stage of basketball, I tell you, on planet Earth. It doesn't get bigger than this, I tell you, Top Striker. And of course, a lot of things would be at stake. But the experience on the part of the Golden State Warriors makes it look like a mountain for the Raptors to climb. Andre Iguodala, I just mentioned, in 2015 was MVP. You look at Steph Curry himself in that team, who is considered by most people as the greatest shooter in history. You measure all these things, put it into perspective. Look at Draymond Green, who is boasting himself as the greatest defender, in the league right now. And you ask yourself, will the Raptors, who in the ranks of the Raptors will be able to come against these guys? With all due respect to Kawhi Leonard, I think he has had a fantastic season, especially in the playoffs. If you want to look at it that way, he might be the flashing light among maybe the others. But you look at the fact that these other names you mentioned now, Serge Ibaka, what's their performance, as we speak this season? What have they been bringing to the table? So I think it doesn't measure up for me, and that's why it looks like a mountain, for the Raptors to climb. But anything could happen, I tell you, in the NBA Finals. You look at the Golden State Warriors. Now, you talked about the fact that in 5 seasons they've won it about 4 times. I mean, this is if they manage to win this one, now they might make it 4 back-to-back titles. Come on, it doesn't get bigger than that. And when it comes to experience, most of the players who have been getting some of these successes are still with the side, So I think for me, outside Kevin Durant, who would be missed for now, maybe till we get confirmation on when he's going to come back, if he's going to maybe be part of any of the series.
For him to have traveled, which means there's a possibility of
that he might get
a
chance in game 2. Okay, so I think outside that, but the only banana peel I want to use that is the fact that Steph Curry, I don't think he's been used to not playing in his backyard, at least in the first game. I don't know how what effect that might play in this one. But all things being equal, top striker, everything for me is on the side of the Golden State Warriors. For the Raptors, they could shock every one of us, but I don't think they have the experience. I don't think they have the players that can match the Golden State Warriors.
Kawhi, former champion,
player to player.
Danny Green.
How many names can we mention? Now, Danny Green, if you mention Danny Green now, can Danny Green measure? Maybe can you put him at par with players in the same position in Golden State Warriors? I don't think so. So if you put all these things side by side, it just looks like it's going to be a one-sided final. But as I said, anything can happen in the greatest of stages in the NBA Finals.
And of course, Chidwin was talking about the fact that at some point it looked like Steph Curry was done and dusted with in this regular season. I think largely part of the fact that it was all about one man, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And when they won the straight sets against straight sets, when they had the sweep, against Portland, journalists asked him, a reporter said, "What do you say about them? They played very well." He said, "Why are you referring to them? My team?" So in other words, they are trying to already sideline him from the success of the team, though he's been out injured. Now, does anyone see the fact that Kevin Durant coming back to the setup might alter the chemistry? He is the poster boy, in quotes. Whenever he comes in, he takes the shine off the other guys. Does anyone see the possibility of him coming back and a large part of the work comes back to him, and which may also affect the chemistry we've seen from Kevin Durant, from Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Draymond Green made a statement. He said, "We all know Kevin is out, so I have to step into his shoes to do what he has to do." So does anyone see the introduction back of Kevin Durant altering the synergy we are seeing so far in this team?
I don't think that will happen. For me, I do think that Golden State Warriors know they know everything that is at stake whenever they go into any game. If there was a Kevin Durant, they know, yes, he will do a large part of the job, but they also have to do their own part. If it's rebound, if it's assist, if it's passing the ball, if it's scoring, if it's getting the points, they know their jobs. So Kevin Durant here is the poster boy. We all know that he's going to be doing the main job. He's going to be getting the ball, scoring as much points as he can. That's his job. But whenever anybody is not there, but the good thing is, I think that the Golden State Warriors have working for them is the fact that they play as a team. When one is out, everybody falls in place. They know what they should do and what they shouldn't do. So I think that's what is helping them go far in the NBA season, in this playoff season so far. Look at the NBA when Kevin Durant was there. Yes, they had lots of points. They emerged champions in the Western Conference. Yes, it was good, but everybody stepped on the shoes of Kevin Durant when he wasn't there. So I think that's also playing very well for them. So him coming back to cause any ruckus or any giving him, I think, is his job. So they would want to give him the respect he deserves and let him do his job. But everybody also have to step in when someone is out. So I think that's what's working for that.
I feel it could be a little detrimental, and that's if Kevin Durant doesn't come back with the form he was in when he left, because definitely when he comes back, all the cameras will pan on him, and he will be like a top striker, as rightly pointed out, the poster boy. The team will look up to him to get those points, to make those 3-pointers. I mean, to get to shoot very well, because he does that quite well for himself. That could mean relaxation from the likes of Steph, Draymond Green. They could just just come down a bit, level it a bit, since you know that your boss is here. There's that little, you just want to go into your shells and say, okay, he does the business better, let's leave it for him. But when it's not there, you see everybody trying to do more than you can do to see that the team succeed. So I think if he comes back and doesn't match up to the level he was before, it could be to the detriment of the team, and we could see the Raptors take advantage of that, because you know that Kawhi Leonard on his day could cause upsets, and that's a man that could take the Raptors on his shoulders and just do it like we saw Antetokounmpo do when he played in the regular season. I mean, we could see Kawhi Leonard do that if, like I said, Kevin Durant comes back and doesn't replicate the kind of form we saw him in before he went out injured.
Well, top striker, my perspective of it would be what they've done in training. You know, if the coach has tested Kevin Durant in the same position. Now, we highlighted earlier in the series on route the final that they reverted to the Golden State Warriors we sort of knew in 2016. Now, they played, it could be Steph Curry today. I mean, it could be someone else. Everybody was, giving their best on the day. There was no figurehead. There was no point of the gun. There was no mouth. You say, okay, this is where we release it from. Everybody could always, take one for the team. That's the Golden State Warriors we knew until Kevin Durant came in. Being a big star already, when he came into the team, they tried their best, of course, to maybe not completely build the team around him, but of course, in the pecking order, we know who the big boy is, just like a Cristiano Ronaldo in Juventus. There are other stars there, but of course, we know who the man is. So I think if they've tested him in training, putting him back at the same position, and everybody still blends well, be it the normal style or be it the old style before he came in, if they've tested it and it's working, then definitely I think it might now be a two-way thing. It could be an advantage. If it is working, that maybe when he did in training, he fitted in perfectly, then it could be an advantage. But on the flip side of it, if it happens that he's not fit, just as Chidwem said, he's not fit enough, and of course, the players have gotten used to playing without him, I think bringing him now will cause some kind of distort the team a little. So I think for me, the best thing, if I was to advise the coach right now, Steve Kerr, to do is, if possible, I know it's going to be difficult, if he mustn't start games, if you can keep him out, at least we know he's the big boy, we understand, at least at some point, if you do something now that affects the team in this stage of the competition, this is the final, this is everything, there's nothing left to play here, any little error could actually affect the team and you end up losing the title. And of course, the Raptors, they know that they are the Davids in this fight. So what would the David do? Look for your advantages. If the advantage is that
your stone and your sleeve,
then look for the sports, what you can use to your advantage. You can wield the big weapons. Of course, you're not the bigger team when it comes to players, but of course, you can use one or two of their loopholes to get to them. If Kevin Durant can be that leakage, of course, but it can also be a handful for the Raptors. If it happens that they plan for Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the likes, and they end up throwing Kevin Durant in the team. So
exactly what I was going to say. The point is, I think it's going to be, both sides. If he comes in, I would not want, Steve Kerr to give him like the major position. Let him just roam around. Let him just be there if he's going to be starting any of this
Kevin
game.
Durant does more than scoring for the Warriors.
Exactly.
He's
To
also
do the
one of
assists, to do the rebounds, the defending
well.
as well. That's what he should do. Don't let him, if he's going to shoot, don't show that he's going to be the shooter on that particular day. We know the likes of Klay Thompson, we know the likes of Draymond Green and Steph Curry, they are getting the job done when it comes to shooting. You just let him roam around, let him be the small guard or whatever we're going to call it, just be there, but let the job be done. And we know Steve Kerr and his boys can do it.
Then, of course, they know the boys, Steve Kerr and the boys will do it right. Then, of course, at this point, let me ask you your prediction. Game 1, who takes game 1 for you and who wins the series?
Golden State Warriors.
Which of them are you talking about?
I think,
who wins game 1 and who wins the entire series?
Golden State Warriors wins game 1, wins the entire series as well.
In what game? 4, 5, 6, 7?
In game 5.
Game 5.
Yeah.
Wisdom?
We might just be seeing a clean sweep. Golden State Warriors for me. The only surprise here would be maybe Steph Curry. Something will happen and he won't be maybe the MVP of the finals. But
he has never been an MVP in the finals.
I mean, that's it. So I think the Golden State Warriors for me will take it. Maybe even before. I don't think it's going to be 4-0, but
4-0 is a sweep.
At least let's it won't be that bad. Maybe. But I don't see the Raptors even getting one. I don't know, but
you made your intentions though.
I don't see the Raptors getting one top Shaka, to be sincere.
Dakas?
It's going all the way to game 7 for me because I think the Raptors are going to put something nobody's expecting. Game 7 is going to get to that extent. That's what I feel. Yes, the Golden State Warriors are going to take game 1 for me, but the Raptors are going to come back like we know them. They're going to look at where they lost in the first game and bring something we are not expecting.
Well, I think everything the Bucks lacked in perimeter shooting, the Warriors have in abundance.
Exactly.
So it might not be the same case where you rely so much on a certain Giannis Antetokounmpo. On the night where Steph Curry may not get his shooting right, Kevin Looney can come steal the show on the bench. Draymond Green can do that. But of course, someone has a message for Wisdom on Twitter. CP3 Christian Peter says, let me tell Wisdom that Gasol, which of the Gasol you're referring to? Marc Gasol, Kawhi and Ibaka, these guys are guys that have tested the big stage. For me, I think the Raptors have a better bench than the Golden State Warriors. And I think that is where the win will come. Only 3 states, I think he meant in the United States, are for the Golden State Warriors to win. But the rest states, US, want Raptors. CP, let me tell you, those states will not play the game. The rest of the states cannot play the game. And of course, also for the record, I don't know what you mean by Gasol. Marc Gasol has never been in the finals. He left the Memphis Grizzlies to come to the Toronto Raptors. He was traded. His brother Paul Gasol is with the Bucks. He won with the Lakers and also played at some point with the San Antonio Spurs. He's also the second highest scoring foreigner in the NBA, behind only Dirk Nowitzki. So if you are calling Marc Gasol, please, you are off on this one. Call down the green rather than Marc Gasol. Somebody else will do the beat right there. Over now to football we go this afternoon, where Flying Eagles defender Valentino Zonwafo has said that the loss against the United States of America was a disappointing result for the team, stating that the plan originally was to qualify for the round of 16 with the victory in that game.
Against United States, well, it has come and gone, but talking about the game, it was a disappointing result. We never expected that. Our major aim is to qualify with that game, but it has happened. We have nothing to do about that. Looking forward for the next game.
Ahead of the last group game against Ukraine today, the Imba defender said the boys have picked themselves up from the defeat against the US and are marching forward with the hope of qualifying for the round of 16 with victory against the Ukrainians.
We picked our heads back, picked our hands back, and we are going forward, marching forward. Yesterday the training was quite good, the way they showed in training section, it was impressive, and all I can say is that we are going out there to beat Ukraine, to defeat Ukraine, so that we can qualify for the next stage.
Is there still hope for the Flying Eagles to qualify for the round of 16, Wisdom?
Yes, there's hope. They have one game now, so that's enough hope if you want to come from that angle. And of course, Ukraine is a team that is beatable. It's not like it's a team that have been trouncing everybody 6-0. They struggled against Qatar. If you saw that game, to manage to get that one goal, they struggled. So it's not like they're...
2 games are the same.
Yes,
goals.
Of course. Even the USA they did beat, it was 2-1. It was not like it was a clean sweep. It's not like they are that over fantastic. And if you want to look at what the Flying Eagles have done, that's even where I have issues. Not like the Ukrainians are maybe for me even the best in the tournament. They are not. So, but what these Flying Eagles have done is what puts fear and their level of playing, the playing style, and the fact that the coach looks as if he's learning on the job, which is not what I expect from Paul Aegbogun. Now, the second game for me, the painful part for me was that I was just looking and hoping. I asked myself, why would you take out Dele Bashiru at that point? Yes, he explained that it was a tactical substitution in the 31st minute. No coach that knows his onions will start up a game And of course, it happens at times that maybe you can start up a game and a player does not turn up on the day. But you can't tell me that you were expecting the US to play like this, and as at the 20, because they've gotten the first goal in maybe in the 19th minute, as at the 30th minute, you saw that you made a mistake in playing Dele Bashiru as more of an offensive behind the striker instead of maybe leaving him deep in the midfield. Come on. So it doesn't look straight, it doesn't look that feasible. We beating Ukraine doesn't look feasible from our own angle, not because Ukraine is the best team in the whole tournament, but from our own angle. These boys don't inspire confidence. Now you look at the fact that a certain Jumi Mohammed will not even be present in this one. They're battling with the fitness of Valentine Ozonwafo and as much as Rabi Ibrahim. And you ask yourself, if this Valentine Ozonwafo, who I think for me in central defense, he has done a lot of clean work. I tell you, if it's in terms of his own, looking at the fact that most of them don't even look like I would say they don't look like they know themselves, some sort. The defense, his center pairing in defense has not been fantastic. Iko Emudo on his own angle does these free runs, and I started asking myself, yes, he ran against Qatar and it worked, but I saw him against in the second game against USA, the runs were not working. The crosses were not connecting. And you as a coach, you still leave him to play because, of course, the player who is supposed to do the flank work there has been sidelined or maybe chooses to play in a free roll while you are drift back a little, while you allow Iko Emudo to go up front. Yes, it was positive for us against Qatar, but how positive for us when we came up against a team who knew how to mark him from that angle? Because, of course, they knew he was the brightest star in that first game against Qatar, and they did everything they could to shut him out. So for me, top striker, I think Ukraine, they are beatable, but the question would be, would we tactically get it right to beat Ukraine?
Can they pick up maximum points against the Ukrainians?
It's dicey.
They're there to lose the game.
Like Wisdom just stated, if they can get their tactics right. Wisdom just stated that, and so far against the United States, they didn't look like people that knew their tactics before they headed out for that game. They didn't know where and how this game was, that game rather was to be taken, and how they are going to ask the questions and get the right answers. That game showed how exposed the under-20 team is, the Flying Eagles are, with their coach. The tactics he didn't get right, and everything fell out of place in that team. So if they could get that right against the Ukrainians, yes, they haven't lost. Wisdom was stating that they struggled against the United States and also Qatar. Yes, they struggled, but the fact is they smuggled out a way and they won that one for me. So if they can smuggle their way against the Qatar that Nigeria gave 4-0, I am quite sure that they will smuggle their way over the Nigerians, who are yet to know their tactics in this particular game, who are yet to persecute any game with one particular, or looking at the opponents they're facing and then execute that game accordingly. But so far, if Paul Aibum can get this right with this team, I'm quite sure the Nigerian can take it. They are brilliant players. Looking at them, they can go forward individually, yes, but together, their togetherness is not there. We know how these guys were rounded up for this tournament. We know how that came in. So I think that's playing a major part, and he doesn't also know the players that can execute. The left back, the right, the forward. He doesn't know exactly how to put them, and I think that's where this problem may come in. But then you are not going to play an experimental game with the Ukrainians. Yes, they are not brilliant, but they are getting the results. That's the most important thing. So if you want to get results, get your tactics right and execute this game.
Chidibem, I haven't seen the Flying Eagles against Qatar and the US. Where do you think this game will be won and lost?
First, the Flying Eagles will be playing Ukraine this time around, and the Ukrainians are a team that are very compact in midfield. I've been able to see 2 of their matches so far, and they are very compact in midfield, I tell you, and that's going to be a problem for us when we confront them, because as a matter of fact, it was a problem when we confronted the US of A, because they knew how to keep the ball on the ground, and the Flying Eagles somehow were hoping that the left backs and right backs, who apparently were working as wing backs, talking about Uti, he was more or less flying on the wings, and it caused problems for us, because the overlapping was now an avenue for the US to get on us on the breaks, and George Weah was on ground to punish us severely, to punish us severely for that. So I think against the Ukrainians, we should be looking at that, how to show up that midfield. We shouldn't wait to the 39 minutes or to make the change. You should think about that before the match starts, and of course find a way to do that. But Dele Bashiru, yes, we expected him to do a lot coming into this competition, and himself and Henry Ofia. I think the problem we've had generally is the fact that the players have not stepped up, because, well, I like it or not, we go into these competitions with the faith or the hope that the players are going to step up individually, not because we have prepared or put together a team.
Should that be the right thing to do?
It's not the right thing, but that's what it is. That's what it is. We go into this tournament most times hoping on individual brilliance, and that's why, as a matter of fact, we want to invite Samuel Chukwueze, because they expected a magician, and it's not working this time around. No player has been able to stop, apart from Ikewam in the first game. Perhaps he did some magic, but the forwards are not getting the goals. Henry Ofia is struggling. Dele Bashiru, who lots of hopes were upon his shoulders, he's found a way to struggle as well. So I think the attacking department has to step up, be clinical. They showed us a glimpse of that in the game against Qatar. They were not particularly fantastic, the whole team, but somehow it worked for them. The wing play for Mikoyo Omutsi was fantastic. He was able to get those crosses connected and got 4 goals for themselves. So I think if they're able to get the goals, let's not forget that the Ukrainians' mind is stepping down a little bit because they know it's job done for them already. They have the quarterfinals to look up to, because you can't be killing yourself at this point, because you know that you're already qualified. So why not sub-pedal and give just joke with the game a little bit, because this is the time they have to try out a lot of new things and see how some other players can fit into the team. So I think that might be an advantage to Super Eagles. Super Eagles should keep their head calm. Of course, the midfield, like I said, very key. Shore it up. The defense is not particularly bad. It's not terrible. If the players can walk, can step up, Valentino's a 1-4 and Kowamti, they are very good defenders. If they can step up a bit, then I think the Ukrainians, we can get the job done against them.
Top striker, please, just to add there, I mean, from what he's saying, we had problems in the midfield against the United States, and of course that's what led to removing Tom Dele Bashiru. But he brought in a certain Anike Meokun, who for me did a pretty decent job going forward in that midfield. The number 10, just in case you saw that one, did pretty well in terms of hold off play, going forward and all that. Even the attempts we had that did hit the bar came from the shots, pulled